Okay.
All right, here we are. uh, no cats were skinned in the making of this video. There is, however, more than one way to skin a cat, meaning get this done, which is we've tried a couple different things now, and here we are on Zoom. So grateful for technology, even though sometimes it makes us want to throw our computers. So, welcome, Surya, to the Fempreneur podcast. Please tell us a bit about yourself and the kind of work that you do. Yeah, just take it away.
Cool. Thank you, Lyndsie. So happy to be here. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Um, so I am a spiritual teacher and healer, and I have been for over 15 years now. Before that, I was a counselor who was working primarily with children and families. And so I've been about helping people create change in their lives for over 30 years now. And um, I've recently realized that being a spiritual teacher and healer is actually an entrepreneurial path, and that being an entrepreneur is actually a spiritual path. It brings up, so much stuff from within ourselves that has been buried and hidden. And it brings it up to the surface to be healed if we choose. And so, uh, yeah, I've adapted what I've learned in helping people into actually helping people with their businesses as well. Um, and so the modality that I use is called Ignite Your Spirit Therapy. And it's about helping people to live more joyful, peaceful lives in whatever area and arena. And like I said, being an entrepreneur is part of that as well. So helping people to have really successful businesses where they're not drained, where there's more joy, and they get to be of service in a way that they may not have been able to in the past.
And this is a whole new concept for me. What you're talking about right now, and Noreen and I were talking last night. So, for those of you who don't know Noreen, she has organized MySpace Calgary, and she is the lovely woman who introduced Surya to me and to the other girls that were just in Mexico for the Fempreneurs retreat. And so, Surya, you live in Playa del Carmen, one of my favorite places on the friggin' planet. You lucky duck, you. But of course, that is just where you're supposed to be. So I guess you just accept these things, right?
Mm,
You
yeah.
go where the energy
And
tells you to go.
well, and where my ego wanted to go. So I'm from Canada originally,
Yeah.
and I lived in British Columbia for most of my life. And then I had the opportunity to go play water polo because I used to be a water polo player in Sydney, Australia in 2002. And I was only supposed to be there for 11 days. I ended up staying 11 years living in Australia. Amazing, had a great time, learned to surf, and it's actually where I met my spiritual teacher. However, in 2013, it became evident to everyone that it was time for me to go back to Canada and begin teaching and healing in Canada. And so I did. I went back to Kamloops. And then in 2017, I was in India and I had two gurus within a week of each other suggest I move to Calgary. So I did. And I learned a lot in Calgary. It was a very valuable experience. And it was cold. And so I decided that, amongst other reasons, that cold isn't my jam. I'm a warm water guy. I'm a surfer. I
Yeah.
want to be by the beach. I want to be in the sunshine and I want to be in the jungle. And
Mm,
so that's why Playa del Carmen is the perfect place for me.
yeah.
Um, Almost perfect. There's no surf except when the hurricanes come. But there's jungle, there's sun, the sunrises over the beach are amazing and beautiful people come here.
And people come there, and I think they really are looking for they're looking for a reset, a recharge. They're looking to be rejuvenated. They're looking for nurturing. They're coming away from kind of like a hectic life, and they're wanting just something, some sort of an awakening. And it was just so serendipitous that there you were waiting for our little group of fempreneurs to teach us things and open our minds to things that we hadn't maybe even realized were, around us or available to us. So thank you for that. And I want to go back to your kind of origin story around the massage therapy and just even all the different training and education that you've invested in. I don't know a lot about that part of you. So tell me kind of, I guess, in whatever order, the different things you've invested in as far as furthering your education and getting better at the work that you do.
Sure. I'd like to back up even more and just let you know that when I was born, I was diagnosed with a syndrome. So, in actual fact, I have an extra chromosome, which, as a result, I was given various diagnoses and prognoses, such as I wouldn't graduate high school, I wouldn't be very athletic, and it was really emphasized that I was kind of different looking. And so I didn't really try through school because I was told I wasn't going to graduate anyway, so there really wasn't much point. But I eventually did graduate high school, and I eventually graduated university. I have a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. My goal was to become an elementary school teacher because there was one teacher who saw me and went, you don't quite fit all of that. And so my goal was to be a teacher who inspired others the way that that teacher had inspired me. As the fates would have it, I did as an elementary school teacher, but working as a counselor, helping children and families. It was a very rewarding role. I loved doing it. I did in a variety of venues and ways. I worked with various youth, and absolutely love that work. It provided me with a really good basis for what I do now. I was in Australia, and I ended up in Australia, and I was looking for a way to stay in Australia. So I studied a graduate diploma in counseling, and then after that, I took some training in massage and aromatherapy, and began to marry the counseling with the massage. And at the same time, I learned about the energy body. I learned about auras and chakras, and began to create change within my own energy body, and it began to reflect in the physical dimension. So I began to pursue education and training in working with the energy body as well, which led me into my teacher's classroom. Her name is Shakti Durga. She's in Australia. And like I said, I studied with her for about 5 or 6 years in depthly, and became one of the teachers, became a spiritual teacher, became a healer, and then came to Canada. So I'm on top of the mind stuff with the psychology and counseling. I also have the body stuff with the massage and the aromatherapy. And then I've got the energy stuff with Ignite Your Spirit therapy and training in a shamanic technique called crystal dreaming. And so it's a real, and I combine all of that to assist people to create the change in their lives that they want to have, and in their businesses as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so how old were you when you knew you had this gift to sort of see things that were going on that maybe others couldn't see, or seeing things in others that maybe others couldn't see? Like, I don't know. Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah. So I have a science background, and I was a very skeptical person before I stepped into the world of energetics. And so I actually believe that people who did energy work were weirdos, and now I teach the stuff because it's a very effective way of creating change in people's lives. So it was a very gradual progress for me into the realization that I could perceive energy. That began in around 2008 when I started to take these workshops. Previous to that, I didn't have any belief in energy, the universe, divine. If I couldn't feel it, see it, taste it with my physical experience, it didn't exist. But in 2008, things changed dramatically.
I can't
And I'm
imagine
now
you
55.
ever I can't imagine you ever being like that, where you're like, I need the facts. I need some proof." I just can't even imagine you being like that. Ah.
Yeah, a lot of change, a lot of change. And it's been, I'm so grateful for it, because my life is very different from the way it was then. And I'm surrounded by amazing, beautiful people such as yourself. And I get to work with them to help them to create even better lives for themselves, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing work that you do. So I just want to share a little bit of the story of how we met, which was, like you said, 10 days ago ish. And
In
um
this lifetime.
yeah, very recently in this lifetime, maybe not so much in others. But yeah, it was pretty neat. So there were, our little group of fempreneurs in Playa del Carmen, and Noreen has known you for many, many years. And she was just, gushing about your incredible, just the incredible person that you are and all the different ways you've helped her and her sister. And so she was planning with you to have you come and do a sunrise session with us on the beach. And it was an incredible experience to do that. And then we sat in a circle and you talked us through some different things and got to know us better. And then Noreen gifted all of us with one-on-one sessions with you, which was just so incredibly generous of her. And then a couple days later, we actually did those sessions. But in between that, we went to a karaoke night, which you came to. And I'm trying to think of all the songs we sang together. I know we sang Barbie Girl, and I know we sang Garth Brooks' song, I think Friends in Low Places. You sang that one. I got a good video of you really wailing that one. And then I think we also sang Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, which was really fun. We sang some good songs. You're a karaoke star.
I love karaoke. It's so much fun. I'm not necessarily a singer, but I like to have a good time. I think it was, and I'm so grateful that I was invited along for that experience because it was so much fun and to get to know everyone like that. I'm really grateful to Noreen for introducing us, and for coming along to karaoke night. That was so much fun.
Oh, yeah, that was great. So, I mean, the next day we had our one-on-one sessions, and the next day was the only day that none of like myself or my group drank alcohol, because every other day we did have some drinks. That was the one day where we pushed pause because we were all a little like, "Whew, that was a night." It was a bit of a late one. And also, I think because we knew that we were going to be working with you and we wanted to make sure there was, not no numbing going on there. We wanted to really absorb and learn from you. And so, yeah. And so, I mean, I can just speak to my own session with you, which I recorded and I've listened to now. And it was just such an incredible experience for me. And it was interesting too, because you know nothing about me. You just met me and you were really touching on some recent aha moments that I'd been having and really hitting them home and kind of bringing them even more to the surface to my attention, which was really, really cool. And you inspired me to do a couple little kind of baby steps, nothing major, but practices in my day that have already had a huge effect. And so I just want to thank you. And I want to emphasize what you started the interview with, where you were saying that our businesses are, I don't know how you said it, but like a reflection of, I mean, our spirit, of our energy, of our ability to impact so many other lives. But one thing I wanted to talk to you about was the thing that was huge for me on that retreat, which was realizing that if I had have kept going the way I was going without this missing piece that you definitely helped me implement into my life, which was um, looking at not only creating abundance in others' lives through the work that I do, but also focusing more on the abundance that I need to have in my life, and yeah, so I still don't really know how to explain it. Like, I've tried to explain it to a couple people and I'm always like, blip, 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 blip. I don't know how to say this, but like, and I hate saying self-love because it's so overused and buzzy right now, but it's kind of like the self-love thing. It's like I like learning how to actually love myself. Like, we did a gratitude practice and it was supposed to be gratitude about ourselves, and like I was supposed to be grateful for things, and I was like thankful for my family, and I was thankful for my nice house and my dog and my son. Like, I couldn't think of anything really, like, really inward. So it was a very awakening experience for me to learn how to really get in touch with myself, and I don't think that I've gotten anywhere near where I'm going to get, but I feel like I'm going there now, and it's pretty cool. So thank you for that. So if you could talk more about that whole thing, anything that's come to mind, I would like you to just like take the floor and just teach, 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 share anything that's on your heart about that with fempreneurs.
Love to. I would love to. Thank you so much. And it's your openness that allows for that. And again, I think that has a lot to do with Noreen because of the introduction that she gave me, because this takes trust and it does take openness. And yeah, so the one thing that keeps sticking out in my mind is around how I knew what to say and how to say it. And so through my years of practice, what I do, and this might be a bit of a leap for some people, but I put my consciousness, I put my beingness into the unity consciousness. So there's a field of unity. And then through our connection, I find you and come into unity with you. So I'm not channeling, but I'm able to perceive the thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and memories that you're holding on to. And I don't do it without people's permission. And my intention is to help. And so my intention is that whatever occurs and whatever comes out of my mouth and whatever is said between us is for the highest good of all, your highest good.
Mm-hmm.
That self-love piece. It's an important part. Self-acceptance, I think, is a step into that self-love. And I think it actually self-respect kind of comes in between that. And yeah, it's all the rage because it's what we want. I think that I really do believe that self-love and self-acceptance is key in success in all areas of our lives. And to accept ourselves fully and completely because the universe does. And so I take a very multi-faith, eclectic approach to my practice. I've studied deeply through all of the traditions. I lean heavily into the Hindu or Vedic traditions. And part of the reason for that is, one, there's a lot of metaphor and a lot of vibrancy. It's a beautiful tradition. Like I said, the metaphors are amazing and they're easy to explain. They're easy for people to grab onto and understand, so that we can awaken that within us. And the first step into that awakening is coming into more self-acceptance, then into self-respect, and then into self-love. And it actually takes a lot of courage to be self-loving, to actually do self-love. And that's a lot of what I do, is help people into that self-love, how to do self-love. And it's also a lot like juggling. So while we're doing all the self-love stuff, we've got other stuff going on. So learning to communicate and connecting with that energy that loves us unconditionally, with with whatever it is that we call it, whether we call it Allah or God or Durga, Hecate, whatever you call it, that's your path. And to follow, dive deeply into that path, and to bring out the treasures of joy and that self-love to live a better life. And in terms of our businesses, to find fulfillment and to be successful in our businesses through, because like I said, it is a spiritual practice. It's part of our spiritual practice.
That's huge. That's huge. So I was speaking with one of my clients yesterday, and she, I think, has some similar gifts to yours, and she uses some of them similarly, I think, but I'm still learning about all this energy and healing things that you people do. Um, I'm starting to feel like I maybe have a few of those gifts myself that I've been using for years, and I'm starting to realize that they are part of how I work with my fempreneur clients and their businesses. But anyways, I grew up with parents who, and we talked a bit about this, who really rewarded my, my bravery and my talents, and when I would, perform, playing piano, singing, playing sports, etc. And I ended up believing, not that it's their fault, but I ended up receiving this message that I had to earn love. And so I went through my whole life always kind of looking at people and being like, and assessing their value based on their achievements. Like even I would apply like a love level of 1 to 10, let's say, to you, for example, for how awesome you are, right? Like I like, and so it's been interesting starting to shift that a little bit, because I still believe that we have this moral obligation to use our talents and gifts to help others. But I can see now how that can become this. There can be a lot of self-sacrificing that goes on, and it can even turn into a bit of self-sabotage at times when you aren't in the right energy space and you're not coming at it from, pouring from an empty cup or trying to pour from an empty cup. So is there anything you want to share around that, or any teaching or discoveries you've had in your life?
Yes. So there's a few things. What you said was so rich and so valuable. A lot of how we operate in the world, we learn from our parents before before the age of 7 years. And these things tend to be set in place. Our programming from our parents or our caregivers tends to be set in place in the first 7 years of our lives. And so we will operate from those beliefs and the traumas. And then what tends to happen is, through one of the laws, the soul dimension, the law of attraction, like attracts like. So if we're holding the beliefs and the programming that this is the way that we are, this is the way that life is, this is what happens, the universe in its benevolence goes, oh, that's what you want. Okay, here you go. And so we will continue to have similar experiences until we do something differently. So like the law of inertia, an object in motion tends to stay in motion until there's an outward force that changes it. And usually for most of us, that's some sort of dramatic or traumatic event. And we just kind of go, okay, things got to change. And this information is held in what's called our astral body, or in the model that I use, it's called our astral body, which is our thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and memories. And then our astral body is held in our aura and our chakras, so our energy body. And so if an energy worker can perceive what's going on in your aura and in your chakras, they're perceiving what's what it's holding, because the astral field is like the software, and the chakra and the auras is like the hardware. And so we can create change in our lives by changing the software or the hardware, or even in the physical. If we begin to engage in things differently, if we begin to do things differently, then it has a ripple on effect through the rest of our system. And or we can create change at the astral level with our thoughts and beliefs, or we can change things at the etheric level. What I like to do is, when I work with people, to change things at all three levels. And so change happens a lot faster and effectively. So some people I work with have addictions. They tend to fall off the wagon less, if at all, when I'm working with them with people who have addictions.
Mm.
In terms of the programming that we receive from the parents, our parents doing the best,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't the greatest. And so we have the opportunity to change that. So I sort of see it like rungs on a ladder. And so hang on to the certain rung that we're at, and we need help to reach up to the next rung to create change in our lives, if we want change in the physical dimension. And so getting a mentor is incredibly important. And I think it's important for our mentors to have mentors.
Mm-hmm.
One of my mentors, her name is Gayatri Kamadanu. She is getting her PhD in states of consciousness. She's looking at the states of unconditional love, and she's involved in the, I think it's the transpersonal psychology department. She's sitting on the board in the UK. And she introduced me to this concept of PERMA, PERMA. And it was brought forth by the founder of positive psychology. And it's a way of measuring satisfaction in our lives. And the A in PERMA stands for achievement. So it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
We're meant to achieve, we're meant to be successful. And to have that internal state. There's a Greek word that comes from ancient Greece called eudaimonia. And it's about this state of well-being and peace and joy that we have all the time, no matter what is going on in our external, whatever is going on in the physical dimension, whether we have traditional success or whether we fail, we bounce back to the state of eudaimonia. And because really it's that internal peace that I help people, and that internal success of having that peace that I help people into.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what you did for me, and I'm sure I've got a long ways to go still, but even if I've only moved up one rung on the ladder, I feel like there's this sense of success and abundance, and nothing's really changed, right? Like, I'm everything really looks the same in my life, but it's literally just the way I feel because I'm choosing to feel that way. And I think, like, at the end of, or maybe it was in the middle of our session, you were like, "How do you feel?" And it's probably closer to the end, but because I'd had my eyes closed for a while and we were, saying some things, and I was listening to the recording, and I'm like, I feel different, but I don't really know how." And then I was like, and then, that whole "how do you feel" where you actually have to answer the question, I
Mm.
haven't thought about that or actually considered how I feel for,
Mhm.
like, ever, you know? So what I realized was that my hands and my arms felt heavier, and then I realized that my whole body felt heavier. And it was just really neat. And then that kind of just, evolved into this the piece that you're talking about, because I did have this lingering anxiousness, just a bit of a, not like stress to the point of not feeling okay. Like I was fine, I was good, I was sleeping fine and sleeping well and happy and everything was great. But there was a little bit of a lingering anxiety. And I feel like it's been replaced with like a trust that everything's going the way it's supposed to go. And it almost allows me just more peace and calm in my mind. I'm kind of turning into this a giant commercial for Saria's services, which is great. But like it's like this peace and calm that now is this open space that's kind of, there's trust floating around in there. And like you said, like was telling you about my new programs in my business and why I created them and what I was hoping they would do for fempreneurs. And it was like the whole with ease and grace, right? Like it's got to be. So anyways, I don't know if any of that made any sense, but it's been pretty pivotal for me. Like I feel like there's a new and I was telling you too, 5 years of fempreneurs starts right now in February. Like this is like the 5-year anniversary of this whole thing I've been doing, and I was getting a little bit complacent. And now I feel like I have this new energy within the business and within the way that I do what I do, that is like the grind and the hustle is like it's gone. Like it's gone. And I was kind of feeling like I was going to miss it, but now it's replaced with this feeling that's so much better. So thank you.
That is so good. I love it. I love it. And yeah, you have been a very successful person. Your life, the life that you've created is beautiful. And you are of service and you help so many people in beautiful ways. They say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a business. And so we need heart-centered mentors who can see outside of what we're doing, who can help encourage us in gentle and loving ways.
Mm-hmm.
And not so loving and gentle when we need that too, because there's a place for that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of what you do. You are such a beautiful heart-centered person. And to just do that little tweak, that little refinement, because with someone who like you, who's done a lot of work already, there are these little refinements, that little bit of anxiety will actually become a bit louder. And through the law of attraction and the law of vibration, so if you have that vibration of anxiety within you, then that's going to go into your projects, that's going to go into your businesses, that's going to go into your relationships. And so my job is to help you to find that and help you to transform that and change it so it doesn't infect your relationships, your business, and to help you to come into a more of a state of peace and well-being. And so you're even more effective in and of the world.
Thank you.
Because you're amazing. I love what you do. And
Thanks.
that's why I'm here, because I really respect the work that you do. And you as a person, you are a phenomenal human who I have a lot of respect for. And I don't know if you believe in past lives. I'm not sure if your listeners believe in past lives. I've known you. We've known each other. We've hung out before.
Yeah, it does feel like that. It does. It really does feel like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to quickly, before I forget, I want to make sure fempreneurs know that in the show notes, I've got links to Saria's YouTube channel and his Facebook page, because those are the two places where right now he hangs out the most. And then if he does move on to other platforms or anything that you need to know about, you'll be able to find details on those two channels about the other channels. And then Saria, what's coming up for you in your business, and what kind of things are you working on, and how can people work with you and gain from your vast array of skills and knowledge?
So right now, what I'm doing is I'm looking to fill my one-on-one practice.
Mm,
Um, I love working with people one-on-one, whether it's they are having issues in their businesses, their relationships, or just don't have that sense of peace that they're looking for, to help them to uncover and transform that which is blocking that which they wish to have in their lives. And one of the most effective ways for me to do that is in the one-on-one sessions. So I do have a few spots available.
nice.
And so if you email me, we can chat more about that. One thing I'd like to add in is your business and your relationships both have energy bodies. So I can tune into the energy, the aura and the chakras and the astral that's being held in your business and in your relationships, as well as yourself, of course.
Right.
I'm also looking at teaching in the beginning of March, because I do run classes that are personal development classes, with a spiritual twist, with an energetic twist, so that you can get more traction and create more change in your life. Now, I haven't decided what I want to teach yet, because I want to be informed by people. I
Mhm.
want you to choose what you want. So what I'm doing, and I invite anyone who's listening to do, is to sign up for my email list, which I believe the landing page is in the link below.
I'll make sure it is. Yeah, 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 and I'll put your email address in the show notes as well.
Yeah. So then I can find out what you want, because
Yeah.
I've got classes in mental mastery, emotional mastery, and inner plane mastery to help you to be more more effective in and of the world.
Mhm.
Now, when you sign up for my email list, you'll also get a free gift, a PDF that's called 5 Essentials for Your Spiritual Path. And you get 5 tips about how to live more effectively in involving spiritual tips, tools, and techniques.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very juicy one. I'm excited to get that. I have not joined your email list, so I'm going to as soon as we're done this call.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll make sure the link to join your email list is in there. And I am already so blown away. Like we've only been connected for less than a week, and just seeing your, you haven't put out a lot of videos on YouTube, but the ones you have are crazy valuable. And the comments below are just insane. Like people are just loving it. You have so many huge fans around the world. Your Facebook is just like always blowing up with people just like so happy that you're in there, on their feed. And so you have this incredible community, which I'm really excited about because I love meeting new people who are on a similar path to, just learning more and discovering more and feeling more. I think, I think it's okay to say this because I'll never stop feeling like they want to do more and be more, but also with the peace and the ease and the grace. So I'm excited to connect with the people in your community in the coming, weeks, months, and years. So thank you for having me in your club.
And I consider myself an honorary fempreneur,
Yep,
even though I'm not a woman.
I agree. I agree. Anyone who comes into the fempreneur community and wants to give them knowledge and tips and energetically boost them is an honorary fempreneur.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so
Because
thank you so much.
we need each other. We
Yeah.
really do. Even if it's just our everyday lives, but especially if we're entrepreneurs, because it's a
Yeah.
challenging path.
Yeah.
And we need to hold each other, not only accountable, but up.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. One thing I just feel kind of like it's kind of on my heart right now to share is a message for all fempreneurs is when you feel drawn to reach out to someone that you've maybe never met and you've just seen them on social media, because I'm a huge social media advocate. Like I think social media is amazing. I've made thousands of incredibly valuable connections. I mean, it's how I met Noreen. So social media is this incredible thing. And when you feel that little pull towards someone and you want to reach out to them and say, something, compliment them, you want to say, hey, I'd love to, connect with you, let's have a virtual coffee and just get to know each other. Like, there's this connotation around that is like, oh, that's weird, or that's creepy, or that's just, you're gonna look like a weird loser who has no friends. Like, don't believe that, don't listen to that. When you feel that little pull, like, would you agree, Surya, just like to go for it and reach out?
Completely. First of all, because what it does is it activates some of the soul laws. So there's one soul law that says, it's the law of flow, that says, as you give, so you receive. And so if you're sending out those good vibes, if you're sending out those positive messages, you're going to get them back. I think also breaking out of the fear, and actually connecting with others is so important. I mean, who doesn't like to hear a compliment?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to connect, really? I mean, I'm sure that there are some out there, but
Yeah.
we're on social media, and I think there's so much disconnect in our society that
Yeah.
it takes courage and strength to make those connections. So I completely agree, and I would encourage people to do the same thing. I think it's a brilliant idea, and I love that suggestion.
Yeah, I feel like, even just this invite that you've given us all to give you feedback on the kind of things that we want to learn in the group session that you would facilitate. A lot of times people are like, well, I don't want to go to a group class with a bunch of people I don't know. And that's probably not you talking. That's, and your inner wisdom talking. That's probably a result of what we've experienced over the last, 3 years talking. It's unfortunately whatever's gone on in the world, however that came to be, whoever caused that or whatever, we won't get into that. But that's a fear that's been instilled in you that's not part of who you are. So open yourself up to others, open yourself up to new relationships, connect with Surya, and then let him know what you're needing and let him connect you with other people that are on that path. And yeah, is there anything else you want to leave the fempreneurs with before we hop off, Surya?
I just want to say thank you. I'm so grateful. And I'm grateful to, like I said before, grateful to Noreen for introducing us. And I'm looking forward to more connections. I actually have a show as well, and I'm looking forward to interviewing on that show and having you come into more of that wider community. And the future looks bright.
It sure does. It sure does. All right. Well, thank you again for your time, Surya, and for sharing this wisdom. And make sure everyone to connect with him using the links in the show notes. And we'll see you on the next episode, which actually, spoiler alert, is an interview with Noreen. She's going to share a bit of her, highlights from the Fempreneur retreat in Mexico. She's also going to talk a bit more about the energy in your business and things she's learned from Surya and things she's learned from, I don't know, whoever. And she's going to talk a bit more about, just really embodying the kind of business that you want even before you feel like you have it. So that's going to be coming up next on the Fempreneur podcast. All right, let's wrap it up. And bye for now, everybody.
Bye for now. Thank you.